All right, hello, and it's silverkyle, and welcome to my weekly update for March 4th, 2024. My staycation has officially started. I had Saturday and Sunday off, and I have the rest of the week plus the weekend off this week. So very much excited for that. In terms of this weekend, I had a good amount of reading, but I played a lot more video games. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video. Let's talk about what I've been reading in the past week and what I'll be reading during my week off, because there's a lot here that I want to get into. So in the past week, I had started, I think last Sunday, because I talked a little bit about it in my last weekly update, was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I have finished this. This took me no time to finish. It's a little under 400 pages, but the writing is, I wouldn't say that it's anything extravagant. It's not plain either. It's just exactly what it needs to be for a mystery novel. And I was really enjoying the very beginning of it. As it went on, it was still incredibly easy to breeze through, but I didn't like it as much. We'll talk a little bit more about it during my review, but I'm definitely going to read more from this author. I just think that the characters themselves weren't really hitting well with me. So that seems to be a recurring theme, that if I don't necessarily like the characters or I can't have anybody to root for, I don't usually enjoy the story as much, unless that the actual story is insane and really good for every other aspect. And the mystery is still good here. Not amazing, though. I would say even on the mystery side, it was a little bit less. But I still was kind of in the middle, and I enjoyed it more than some of the books that I read this year already so far. One that I am enjoying quite a bit, and that's the only other book that I started reading this week, is The Boy Who Cried Wolf by Kelly Armstrong. I'm about 125 pages in, so that's the beginning of the book there. I should get a bookmark that's actually, I just used like what I get from, like it's just Indigo's, I guess, receipt that I get from my books. That's usually what I end up using. I need to get an actual colored bookmark or something, so it's a lot easier for you to spot them. But either way, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. So I already read The Haven's Rock, which is technically book 1 in this series. It's not really, it is a series, but it's essentially just a detective and a sheriff that kind of live in this remote area, and this is their tales as they kind of go on. And you don't need to read necessarily the first book in this, because this is a spin-off series of another series called the Rockton series. So there's a lot of books here, and I think that you can just dive into these and see them as their own unique mystery novels, because there's not anything that really transfers from book to book other than what they what they will catch you up to while you're reading it. So this is just great. They alluded to something at the very beginning, and I'll get into that when I eventually do my spoiler here, but I was so excited, and now as we're going on, it's looking less and less likely. It's still very interesting, but what they were potentially alluding to had me really, really excited. So I'm definitely going to have to look for books that are centered around this specific thing that really had me excited. But either way, this is just... The thing is that I already know the characters, so I knew that I liked them. And I like the idea of what they're trying to do. They're really good characters, so they're really easy to like. And you kind of get an idea of them and how much they care about people, which is sometimes needed, because if you have something like The Teacher, where all the characters have, in my opinion, pretty major flaws. I don't want a perfect character. I can't stand a major character. I want flaws and challenges that they overcome, in themselves as well. I'm perfectly fine with inner flaws that they overcome, and that can be a challenge. But I need to care about you, and if I feel that what you're doing isn't really up to what I see morally is right and wrong, and you can definitely have shades in there too. But if I'm really against something specific, which a lot of the characters in The Teacher I just couldn't get into, this is the complete opposite. And so I care about the characters, but then the story and the mystery, it's very much, it's crazy. I went through this no problem. I'm going through this just as fast, honestly. Like, I just started this and I'm already 125 pages in. And I feel like I enjoyed this and I want to read more of this author, but the story and the mystery and the characters were kind of and the story and the characters in this are quite high up there. It's interesting. So yeah, great stuff here. Very much looking forward to finishing this. I'm probably going to finish this within the next 2 days probably. It's just really up my alley. So that's everything that I read in the past week. Now let's dive into what I'll be hopefully reading within the next week. So I'll be finishing up The Boy Who Cried Bear. I'll also want to, because it's just working so well for me to be reading this kind of stuff, that I do want to start End of Story, because it's another mystery novel. This is something that I think is just, if I want to read a lot of books, I think I stack up a bunch of these, because it takes me so little time, so little effort to read these, that it really motivates me to read other things. And I can read other big books while I'm reading these smaller mystery novels that to me are just, a palate cleanser, or something that just makes me read every day and enjoy that I'm reading. Not to say that I don't enjoy these big epic fantasies that I'm going to be talking about in a second here, but they are a lot harder to read, especially some of them that are like, massive tomes. This isn't too bad. I think it's only like 500 pages. Oh, it's a little bit over 500 pages, but it is a fantasy novel, so I will definitely be reading this. So I'll be reading this. I'll be reading Dune as well, hopefully. So those I've talked about quite often, so I do have to definitely start those. But I also want to start The Tainted Cup, because one of my friends just recently picked this up. And he read I suggested Will of the Many. It was Kevin from Team Beardage, which I've done some live streams on here before. So he read Will of the Many. He wanted a book to read. I suggested that one. He ate it up essentially, and then I recommended a few other books that I would be reading in the next little while. And so now he seems to be getting on this big feverish addictiveness of wanting to get books, or buy books and read books. So he ended up picking up this, so I'm definitely going to be reading this at some point during the week, so that we can kind of talk about that as we're both reading it. So that's it. That's the 4 books that I think that I'll be finish or starting this week, and I don't know how many of these I'll finish. I'm hoping that it'll be actually a few though, because that would be really awesome if I actually finish a few books in the same week. So now let's just quickly talk about what I'll be doing for this week. I do have a lot of videos planned. I last week I wanted to do a few more. I didn't get to do that much. I think I did my March TBR and my February pickups. So what I have planned for this week, I have the 2 omnibus. So the Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Spider-Man omnibus that I'll be doing overviews for. I have my February wrap-up to talk about what I read in February along with my book of the month. I only read 3 books, so it's going to be fairly obvious if you've been paying attention. But anyway, we'll go over that. And then I would also like to do a Shining review, the Great Hunt review, the Teacher review. So there's going to be a lot. I don't think this will all be in the same week, but that's the next few videos that I will be taking care of during the next little bit. And last but not least, I just wanted to quickly talk about this weekend. I played a ton. Well, this past week I did play a good amount of Apex, but this weekend, so I play a lot of Apex with my brother. My brother lives a few provinces over, so it's just a great way to be able to talk to him and kind of hang out. Essentially, it's what I did when I first moved out when I was 18 years old to go to college. It was only an hour away. Really, I could have totally stayed home, but I moved away. But my brother and I are extremely close. And so what I wanted to do was to kind of still be able to talk to him and hang out with him. He's 4 years younger. So at the time, I think I bought him that summer an Xbox so that we could play Halo, we played single player. But then eventually in November of that year, in 2004, Halo 2 came out so we could play online together. And like every week or every 2 weeks, I was either coming back down home to hang out with my brother, or he was coming up to visit me for where I was, because we're just that close. And we've kind of kept that bond since then. And one of the things that we did enjoy doing throughout the week is playing Halo 2 at that time. And we've kind of continued that as we grow older. We played then Halo 3 a little bit, Halo Reach, Call of Duty Black Ops and Black Ops 2. And eventually we went on and into Apex. And I would say that Apex is by far what we've been playing the most out of in the past 20 years. We've been playing it for 3 years now, and we absolutely love it. And we try to get as many games as we can during the week. And it's great stuff. And I got one of my friends to start playing, so then we could play the three of us. And now I've just got another friend of mine to kind of join in. He just started playing this weekend, and I played pretty much Sunday with a variation of my friends and my brother throughout the entire night. It was great. It was just a whole day of video games. I haven't done a big day like that of just Apex for the entire day in a long time, and it felt great. This is what I wanted to do on my staycation, was to kind of just do some hobbies, and I did. I had a blast, so very happy with that, and hoping to do a lot more gaming and a lot more reading in the next week. So thank you all for watching. You have bearded in. Beardage.